From the Digital Media Center, on the campus of Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon. This is Ramping Up Your English, an educational program for intermediate-level English language learners. Here's your host for Ramping Up Your English, John Letts.
Welcome to Ramping Up Your English. Ramping Up Your English is for English language learners from all language backgrounds who have already begun the process of learning English as their second language. It's a program for people of all ages. If you're seeking greater English proficiency, this program is designed to help you reach that goal. Ramping Up Your English is a support program for English learners who have already passed the beginning stages of learning English. We take a content-based approach to helping you reach higher English proficiency. We use English to teach English. The theme of our first unit is trains and railroads. This is episode 10, segment 1. In our last episode, we journeyed on the legendary Sunset Limited from the low desert country of southern New Mexico, within 20 feet of the Mexican border, to the bayou country of Lafayette, Louisiana, watching the train pull out toward New Orleans. Today, we reverse the journey, following Amtrak's train number 1 from its station of origin, New Orleans.
New Orleans, the comeback city from Hurricane Katrina, is where Amtrak's Sunset Limited begins its westward journey toward Los Angeles. 4 flags have flown here, flags from France, Spain, the Confederate States of America, and the United States. The charm of this unique southern city has never dimmed, not from storms nor from battles. It's a city of music, history, and good times, not to mention good food and warm people. The Sunset Limited heads west from this balmy place, chasing the sunset across swamp, bayous, and sprawling deserts. This famous train, train number 1, crosses the wide Mississippi River on the Huey P. Long Bridge, named for a Louisiana governor and popular leader. It's the longest railroad bridge in the United States, at 4.4 miles, built in 1935. Now on the west side of the Mississippi, the Sunset Limited rolls through Shriver and New Iberia to Lafayette. If Acadiana were a state instead of a cultural region, Lafayette would be the capital. It's named after that French general who helped George Washington during the Revolutionary War. It's the cultural and geographic center of the region, a place of business, art, and culture, and unforgettable food. We'll get off here to visit the rice capital of the world. Of course, that's Crowley. This is an area known as the Acadiana Prairie. It's flat country with fertile soil. There are lots of farms here, growing rice and soybeans. Here's my cousin and sister during soybean harvest. Here are fields in the winter, prepared for next year's crops. If you're wondering where the bayous are, Acadia Parish has them too. This bridge crosses Bayou Plaquemine. Bayou Plaquemine starts north of Crowley and drains into the Mermentau River. This area has cypress trees. These are called cypress knees. Both are beautiful features found at the water's edge. You don't have to go far to see cypress trees here. And you don't have to go anywhere at all to see rice fields. When the rice crop has been harvested and October comes around, Crowley hosts the International Rice Festival. Residents see the familiar downtown area transformed into a splashy collection of booths, most of them selling festive food. We were on a mission to find pork chop sandwiches. Mission accomplished at this church food stand. We came on a Friday afternoon when the food was fresh and the crowds thin. Downtown Crowley was a riot of color and food and aroma and food and more food, gumbo, turkey drumsticks, and more. This could be your only chance to taste Zydeco shrimp or fried alligator on a stick. For my wife Liz, this was her first rice festival. People come from all around, and by Saturday night, this street looks very different. Here's the main stage, located at the courthouse, and here's a secondary stage with a reminder to watch the children's parade. And here's the Carnival Rides that we always look so forward to as kids. You find rides and games and restrooms. If you want clean ones, they're available for a price. You don't have to go home if you spend all your money. There's a mobile bank machine. You can just pull out more money from your account. For tractor fans, you could see antique tractors, and one that's not so antique for little tykes. I was looking forward to the demonstration of the thrashing machine. My uncle used one of these when he was young. I got to see the equipment all right, but they were having trouble firing up that old Model D John Deere, so we headed home to eat those huge pork chop sandwiches. The Sunset Limited roars right through Crowley, but it doesn't stop here. The stop after Lafayette is Lake Charles.
Your dinner reservations?
Yep.
Okay, well, you enjoy dinner.
Thank you.
With our dinner reservation set, we were free to enjoy the last light of day behind the Interstate 10 bridge over the Calcasieu River. Besides family, friends, and food, I miss Louisiana's incredible sunsets, one of which we were heading into right now.
Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English. Our goal is to help you elevate your level of English proficiency in a way that causes the least amount of stress. Our approach is to make English learning interesting and fun by using a thematic approach. Our first theme is trains and railroads. If you want to see a video clip of the Sunset Limited crossing the Huey P. Long Bridge in New Orleans, find and follow the link on my website. Go to the Episode 10 page of letscreate.org. Click on the link for a brief treat. That's all for Segment 1. We'll ramp up our English sequencing skills when we return with Segment 2. This is a Ramping Up Your English book review. Are you looking for outstanding photography and a way to strengthen your English vocabulary? You'll have both in Seymour Simon's Book of Trains from HarperCollins Publishers. Each time you turn a page in this book, you're treated to world-class photography. One page features a train switching yard in Portland, Oregon. Most pages have written information about the picture you're enjoying and about trains in general. You'll encounter the precise vocabulary of train terminology. You'll also encounter language forms like present tense verbs and prepositional phrases. You'll see how objects are used to describe things by listing their parts. Mostly, though, you'll enjoy learning more about trains and about the various cars on the train. You're also likely to find the reading level understandable. Seymour Simon's Book of Trains is a beautiful book that offers an enjoyable way to learn more about trains. You'll have to get your own copy. I'm too attached to mine. For Ramping Up Your English, I'm John Letts. Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English learners who want to improve their English proficiency. If that's you, you're in the right place. This is segment 2 of episode 10. In an earlier episode, I urged English learners to be sure they're solid in the early intermediate skill of using basic sequencing words. I demonstrated sequencing in the steps of a science experiment. Today, we're going to sequence again, but this time we're sequencing the station stops on the Sunset Limited, and we're ramping up the sequencing words we'll use. Let's begin with the basics. The Sunset Limited begins its journey west in New Orleans, then goes to Shriver, then to New Iberia, then to Lafayette, finally to Lake Charles, before leaving Louisiana. This is a correct way of sequencing the stops of the Sunset Limited. Using the words then, next, and finally gets the job done. Now we can take this to a slightly higher level with some alternative words. We'll keep the first sentence very close to the previous example. The Sunset Limited begins its westward journey when it departs from New Orleans. Now we'll find alternatives from the overused words then and next. From there, it makes a brief stop in Shriver, followed by a stop in New Iberia. After that, the train continues to Lafayette, and finally to Lake Charles, its last stop in Louisiana. Now, there's not a tremendous difference between this wording and the wording in the previous example. But this subtle change notches up the level of English and avoids the overly used sequencing words. Now think of the footage of the train going through Crowley. Let's use sequencing words to put the passenger train cars in order. First, let's look at some choices we have for sequencing words. First, initially, ahead of, after that, behind, between, following, followed by, and finally. Here's a close activity. We're not testing your knowledge of passenger train cars. We're giving you that vocabulary. The trick will be to choose words from that list that will connect these cars, reflecting the order of the consist. Now, we're not looking for exact words in exact blanks. There are numerous combinations that would work here, but there's also some that won't. Now here's what the sequence might look like. First are the two locomotives, followed by the baggage car. Behind the baggage car are the sleeping cars. Between the sleeping cars and the observation car is the dining car. Ahead of the coaches is the observation car, also called the sightseeing lounge car. Finally, the coaches make up the last cars of the consist. Notice we didn't use every word on the list. Also notice that there is more than one word that could correctly fill the blank. Try filling the blanks again using different words from the list, but be sure the overall sequencing is still correct. It's not about putting the right word in the right blank. It's about putting the train together in the right sequence without always using the same words. You'll find these exercises on my website along with the video clips you see in today's program. That's at letscreate.org. Go to the episode 10 page. Once you've done the exercise a time or two, see if you can sequence the cars then of the Sunset Limited from memory. The important thing is to use the words like these to describe an object by sequencing its parts. Next in the sequence of this show is another look at a legendary railroad and another video clip. We'll be back with that right after this. This is a Ramping Up Your English book review. If you've taken an interest in the theme of trains and railroads, you can grow that interest with Trains Magazine. This is for the serious rail fan or just anyone who loves trains. Each issue has a main theme, this one about Western steam engines clearing the tracks of snow and ice. Since the featured events were for photographers, there are incredible pictures in this special winter and holiday issue. This issue also features Union Station in Kansas City, a beautifully remodeled historic train station served by Amtrak's Southwest Chief during its nighttime run between Chicago and Los Angeles. Trains Magazine is also a good source of finding railroad museums closest to your home. If you want to know more, visit their website. I found my copy at a newsstand and I just couldn't resist buying it. This has been a Ramping Up Your English book review. I'm John Letts. Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English learners. You can watch and download this program and others by visiting archive.org/details/RogueTV. Choose Ramping Up Your English from the sidebar or choose my name, John Letts. You can see this program on Channel 15 in Ashland and Channel 182 on Charter Cable. This is Episode 10, Segment 3. I've enjoyed sharing my hometown of Crowley, Louisiana with you in the first segment, but Amtrak Sunset Limited takes passengers far beyond Crowley and the rest of Louisiana. If you're ready to travel the 900 miles across Texas, here's the next video clip to get you there.
Amtrak's Sunset Limited westbound. In Part 1, we left Crowley and the rest of Acadiana, chasing the sunset toward Los Angeles.
Parkerson Avenue. Avenue F.
The sun was setting as we left Lake Charles, crossing the Calcasieu River. We soon found ourselves crossing a true Louisiana swamp, chasing that sunset into East Texas.
That's right, we had a bridge to go over. That's funny.
Sabine River. We are now in Texas.
The revised schedule of the Sunset Limited gives us more daylight, allowing us to see this iconic hotel in Beaumont, Texas. The port of Beaumont connects its petroleum industry with the Gulf of Mexico. Heading west from Beaumont, the Sunset Limited on the revised schedule travels through East Texas. It always impresses me that there's so much countryside even between these large cities. Speaking of large cities, our next stop is Houston, the largest city in Texas. Leaving the Houston Amtrak station, the train does an interesting maneuver. First, it travels straight out and crosses the main railroad tracks, the main line right here at this diamond. Now look at some of these houses, these worn down, boarded up houses. I've been seeing them here for years.
Now we're going back the mile.
What Charlie says is true. As if seeing those old dilapidated houses once wasn't enough, now we back up on the line to cross the main line again. You can see the freight train through the window. The main line is double-tracked, so after backing up, we join the main line for the next part of our trip. Even with the revised schedule, the Houston area is the last we see in the daylight. Heading westbound, it seems we always arrive in San Antonio in the dark. When Southern Pacific ran the Sunset Limited, they picked up westbound cars in El Paso. Amtrak Sunset Limited picks up westbound cars from Chicago at San Antonio. The platform is a busy place. I often sleep through this stop, but this time, in the wee hours, I got my video camera out and walked around. The hubbub on the platform ended. I seemed out there by myself. The San Antonio station seemed to be made for nighttime. I walked to the rear of the train and found this private car. Amtrak often pulls cars belonging to railroad clubs. Cars from streamliners during railroad's golden age are often refurbished by individuals or clubs. This was a car from the famous California Zephyr. This retired Southern Pacific steam engine was strung with lights for Christmas. At San Antonio, 2 cars from the Chicago train are hitched to the Sunset Limited for the trip to Los Angeles. These added cars are from a train called the Texas Eagle, a train Amtrak saved from the old Missouri Pacific Railroad. Looking into the waiting room, I'm reminded that some of these passengers have to wait for hours before they can board the Sunset Limited. It would take some time for the new train to be configured, but I was ready to go back aboard the sleeping car.
Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English. We're using a content-based approach to help viewers elevate their level of English proficiency. Our first unit is Trains and Railroads. The legendary Sunset Limited trains came into existence because of the Southern Pacific Railroad. The history of this railroad can be explored through this fascinating book by Brian Soloman. Growing up in Southern Oregon's tracks, or near their tracks, I should say, I could never imagine a world without Southern Pacific. I was brought back to those years when Southern Pacific ruled southern Louisiana. The train's whistle in the night was my lullaby. Watching the gray and red locomotives at a crossing and waiting for the caboose was a daily activity. But there was much more to this railroad than my limited experience. This title from Voyager Press is organized into 6 chapters, from the building of the railroad empire to its disappearance into Union Pacific. Of special interest to me are the descriptions of the Siskiyou line into Oregon and the coastal route in California that I've seen from Amtrak's Coast Starlight. If you're a rail fan, you'll learn all about motive power used by Southern Pacific over the years and the challenging grades and loads that were tackled by the sheer power of the equipment and the skill of the train crews. The photography in this book is outstanding. If you want to learn more about the railroad that blessed this country with the Southern Pacific Sunset Limited, you'll want to get your hand on Brian Soloman's Southern Pacific Railroad by Voyager Press. Remember, learning more about our unit theme is the best way to make these programs comprehensible, and that speeds up your growth in your target language of English. Congratulations! If you've been with me since our first episode, you've completed 10 episodes doing numerous grammar exercises, working with various language functions, and experiencing language patterns that have strengthened your English proficiency. To celebrate, you'll find 2 bonus videos on our website, letscreate.org. These bonus videos are each a half hour of the Sunset Limited, consisting of the 5 eastbound episodes, plus some extra images. You'll find them on the Episode 10 page on letscreate.org. Let's do some more FAQs, some frequently asked questions. Here's another frequently asked question about language acquisition. Is Rosetta Stone a good way to learn English? Well, there are many ways to learn a second language. As a Spanish learner, I had great benefits in using Rosetta Stone, and as a teacher, I've also seen benefits for the children I taught. Now, having said that, any single way to learn a second language will have its limitations, and a computer-based instruction program is no exception. There's a saying that there are many paths to the top of the mountain, but the view is always the same. So I won't get into comparing one path against another. I will say this, if you can work with a language teacher, by all means do so. Many places have community colleges that offer ESL. Southern Oregon has RUE Community College, which has an excellent program. And if you can get a class with just a few dedicated students, I think you'll find it well worth the time and expense. Now, having said all that, remember that no one size fits all. If you're analytical, you may want to include a grammar-centric approach. If you're highly social, you just can't beat a small conversation group. And of course, this content-based approach that I offer here could be an important addition to any of these approaches. I recommend using as many as your time and effort will allow. If you found resources that have worked well for you, please share them on my blog and I'll pass them on. That's at letscreate.org. You can see and download a copy of today's program and others by going to archive.org/details/roguetv. Use the sidebar to choose Ramping Up Your English or choose my name, John Letts. I want to thank my volunteer crew, my announcer Bob Ayers, RVTV, and I want to thank you, our viewers. See you next time on Ramping Up Your English. I'm John Letts.
You've been watching Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate-level English language learners. Learn more. Visit our website at letscreate.org. You can also watch or download today's program at archive.org/details/roguetv. Join us next time on RVTV Voices for Ramping Up Your English.